You know the Make-A-Wish Foundation. They grant life-changing wishes for kids with critical illnesses. Whether it's to be an airplane pilot, hang out with their idol, or become Batman for a day, Make-A-Wish makes it happen. Now, we've got a really cool way for you to help. Make-A-Wish has a new podcast called The Power of a Wish, and for every listen, they'll receive a $1 donation. One listen equals $1, up to $50,000. The podcast is a 2-part series. It's a behind-the-scenes look at Make-A-Wish, telling you the story of some special kids and families. It's an easy way to support an awesome organization, to grant more amazing wishes for kids and families that really need a helping hand. Go ahead, subscribe to The Power of a Wish in Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app, and you'll help raise money for Make-A-Wish. Hello, all you monogamous animals. It's beautiful, anonymous. 1 hour, 1 phone call, no names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun, and I'll get to know you, and you'll get to know me.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Beautiful Anonymous. My name's Chris Gethard. I'm very lucky to host this show. I get to talk to people all over the world. I get to talk to chaplains and people who can't picture images in their mind. I get to talk to bushmen and stalkers and all kinds of people. Nice people, suffering people, celebrating joy. It's the best job. It's the best job a guy could have. Thank you all for supporting it, calling in. Couple things I want to address. One, keep mentioning we got these shows coming up at the Bell House in February, Brooklyn, New York. The Bell House, one of the great comedy venues going right now. Those shows are getting very close to selling out. The first one, I think there's only a handful of tickets left, and the second two, I think, are going to get there as well. So if you're in New York or you're near New York, or you want to come to New York, get your tickets. Don't wait on them. If you got friends who aren't texting you back yet, you might just want to buy those tickets. Go ahead and get them. And I'm not saying that just to shill tickets because the sales are fine. I just want everybody who wants in to get in. And I know one of those weeks, all the mods from the Facebook group, a whole bunch of those mods are taking a trip to New York City. I finally get to meet these people face to face who have built this incredible community, this positive community that discusses our little show here. It's a cool thing. Last week's show, I am thrilled with the reception to this one. I got to say, this, of course, was our Puppet Master episode, the guy who worked doing some animation stuff. He overcame some childhood difficulty, but most importantly, had the most insane laugh any of us have ever heard. I'm going to go ahead and say, based on the reaction in the Facebook group, this is a classic. This is being regarded as one of the best episodes ever and the funniest. A lot of people are saying, funniest episode of Beautiful Anonymous, hands down. I got to say, being 94 episodes in, getting our funniest one gives me a lot of joy, a lot of hope. Maria says, hand in the Facebook group. These are all from the Facebook group. Hands down, best episode ever. Heard it in the car with the volume high, the windows down. Let's just say lots of people heard that laugh today. Chrissy says, I straight up missed my exit this morning on my drive to work. I had laughing tears. Sally, I'm on the elliptical at the gym and burst out laughing when Geth and the caller start laughing. I got a few awkward stares and a few smiles and laughter from other. That is not Sally, my mom. It's another Sally. I just realized this show, all the Sally references. Anyone else named Sally, it must drive them nuts. That's a beautiful name. Aurelie says, this almost got me fired. I swear I laughed so hard I cried. My boss was not impressed. Sarah says, this is the best call of all time. Forever and ever, I'm over here dying of laughter. There's a lot of those. Makes me really happy to read that. There's one comment in particular, though, I want to call out. Dawn left a fascinating comment that I loved. She said, OMG, just had this thought. How did Jared react? I always see him as this wall of cut the shit, very grown-up type of person. Sure, that's not the case, but still, that's the box I put him in. I love knowing that might be the perception amongst the fan base of Jared. I want everybody in the Facebook group to let me know, do you guys think Jared is like a stern taskmaster who's creating a cut the shit vibe? I want to know. I hope there's a comment. The mysterious, who is he? We hear his name all the time. What is our perception of him? I can tell you my perception of him from the other side of the glass. The nicest, most laid-back person I've ever worked with in any professional atmosphere. But I want to hear that you guys are building cartoon images of Jared in your head. I want to know what you're thinking out there. Okay, I've been talking a long time, but the reaction to that last one, how hard people were laughing, it warmed my heart, pushed all my comedian buttons. Wanted to pat that episode on the back a little bit. So glad you guys enjoyed it. This episode this week, very different one. Starts light, gets pretty dark, pretty intense. You're gonna hear there's a point in this episode where I actually say, is all of this true? I have a feeling people might debate that on their own, but you'll also notice that the caller references lots of things and references back to them, and it doesn't sound like, sounds like all these stories are in a timeline that this caller knows backwards and forwards. Seems like it's not fake. Lot of intense stuff here. Gonna let you know that if you are someone who is bothered by mentions of abuse and sexual abuse, you're gonna want to brace yourself for that. Always like to let people know that some traumatic things are mentioned. So if you have some PTSD related to certain things, you might want to just brace yourself, be ready for it. There's a lot going on in here. There's accusations. There's revenge. There's heartbreaking tragedy, and all of it with a caller who has survived. And I'll leave it up to you guys to sink your teeth in this one. The reactions to this one I think are going to be fascinating. I'm going to ask, when you react online, remember this is the caller. He's a human being. He's out there. He's listening. So don't just go. Sometimes people go on and go, I think this person's a liar. This is a person who's sharing, opening up. Feel free to debate how much of it's true, if you think any of it's exaggerated, but I don't want to see people going into attack mode. Let's not do that. Let's be a community that goes beyond that. Let's be an empathetic community that doesn't fall into the trap of internet finger pointing and cynicism. Let's do our part to erase that. I think it's the modern scourge upon the world. Anyway, enjoy this episode. Really intense. Buckle up. Enjoy it.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello? Hi.
You have very
This
clear...
is Gethard?
Yeah, it's Gethard, yeah. You have a very clear phone line. I didn't even know anybody was on the line already. So quiet and clear.
Oh.
You got a good
Well,
provider and service area match.
yeah. How's your day going?
Good. The short answer is good. The longer answer is I was brutally ill earlier this week, caught a 24-hour bug. And I traveled in the middle of the week, flight delays. So I'm happy. The answer is I'm happy to be home and grounded and enjoying my life.
I'm happy to be alive.
Very happy to be alive. Very happy to be alive. In these troubled times, I find myself, you know what I'm realizing lately? A lot of turmoil, a lot of fear, and I'm just telling myself, the best way to fight back is try to take a deep breath and stay happy about the things you do have. That's how I'm doing.
It is true. We have to always pause and, just gather ourselves.
Yeah. Happiness is sort of like an act of rebellion right now, Like I'm not going to sit around living in fear and anger.
You know what? That's pretty true, honestly, because, I don't know, people generally try and, take people down if they're, happy or, they seem better off in terms of, I don't know, everything. So that's pretty crappy about them, but, we just have to live on.
Yeah. What can you do except that? Now, how are you?
I could be better.
Okay.
I was going to say fine, because that's a very default answer that I have. Fine, great, amazing, awesome. But, we all have our own things going on. But, yeah, I'm just at work. I moved my lunch. So yeah, I just had lunch. And now I'm talking to Chris Gethard.
Okay. I like that you. I like that started with you.
Talk about?
I like that started with you saying my life could be better, and then one of the things you listed about your life is that you're talking to me.
I mean, it's always nice to talk to. I don't know. You seem a pretty chill dude, so I can, inviting basically. I know only a couple people in my life who are just off the bat are inviting in general.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, I don't know, it's not the aura of them around them, or it's just like, I don't know who they are. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how to explain this.
I'm happy to be a chill dude at your service.
Are we breaking up?
Well, really, that's up to you.
No?
I feel like the first 3 minutes have been going well, and I see a lot of potential here. But if you feel like it's time to walk away and this isn't a great match, then I can handle it. Oh,
no.
You meant the phone breaking up?
I'm not going anywhere.
No, the phone's fine. Yeah, the phone's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, because it keeps like interrupting or something. I don't know, but so, I mean, what should we talk about? I don't know, ask me questions. I'm not that good at talking about myself.
Well, you picked the right show. You picked the right show. If you're not...
Well, yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. What's a good place to start as far... Okay, you want me to ask you questions?
Yeah, interview me.
Interview. Well, let's see, because I could just try to dive into some heavy hitters, or I could try to, ease into it first. I'm trying to gauge our... Really, how about an easy one? Where'd you grow up? That's a nice, simple one.
I grew up in... I grew up in the Soviet Union.
Whoa.
No, just kidding. But I grew up in Russia, and I'm not that old.
Oh, yeah.
But I grew up in Russia, and I basically lived there for about 4 years.
Yeah.
And then at about 5, 6 age range, I moved to Ukraine because my mother is Ukrainian and my father is Russian. And my mom is I grew up in this family that was basically the easiest way to explain it would be an Asian family, but they're white. So, you had to get good grades, you had to play an instrument, you had to be on point. You had to play sports as well, and you had to master everything.
Okay.
So
in this, the stereotypical view of the stereotypes of maybe an Asian American immigrated family where work is prioritized.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. So... But I wasn't expected to be a doctor or anything or a lawyer, but, I was expected to be something. And it was not how it planned out or played out. But so I then moved to Ukraine because my mother wanted me to learn Ukrainian. And I spent half my childhood with my grandparents, which was great. I got to see the other side, basically. And there was no conflict going on during that time, so it was all good. But then we moved to America. I was also in Dubai for half a year because my family is Middle Eastern-ish. And I didn't learn any Arabic, unfortunately, but that's in my plans for future.
So you speak English, Russian, and Ukrainian?
Yeah, I speak Russian and Ukrainian, yeah.
Are Ukrainian and Russian related languages? Is that Spanish and Portuguese style? Or are they...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically...
Glad I asked you where you grew up.
People that are very... Yeah. So a lot of people generally are very... So if you're too Ukrainian or too Russian, you're you're either Ukrainian is not really a separate language, or if you're super Ukrainian, Ukrainian is a completely different language, which it's not. It's more if you were to compare, it would be Ukrainian is more of a more vulgar / barbaric version of Russian. Mm-hmm. So all the words are more loose or changed slightly to make it sound, I don't know, loose. So
right.
Yeah.
So it is a sort of thing, though. If you understand one, you'll be able to understand the other. Generally. Yes,
generally for unless it's a certain older version of it, then yeah. But all Russians generally understand Ukrainian. Even if you don't understand even if you never encountered a Ukrainian or never heard them speak, you would be able to understand majority of the conversation.
Yes.
Even if you are unable to understand certain key words.
Got it.
You would be able to understand everything. So
now I'll tell you, one of my best friends growing up, I had 3 friends in my neighborhood, my grade. One of my very best friends, I grew up with him, We went to school together from kindergarten to college graduation. I may have mentioned this on the show before. He was of a Russian background. He was Estonian. And he taught me one phrase in Russian that I never forgot. He taught me one phrase in Russian, and I never forgot it. And it's the type of thing you would teach your buddy in third grade. It's a naughty thing. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Pushusi moju sisiska. I never forgot that. I still know how to.
The would be.
Yeah, say it. Tell them the translation.
Would be. The translation would be "suck my titty," but I think he meant to teach you "suck my dick," basically.
Yeah, he told me it meant "suck my sausage." Have I been saying "suck my titty" since third grade? Are you informing me right now that I've been saying "suck
titty"? Yeah.
So either I'm pronouncing it wrong, or he set me up in third grade for a lifetime of humiliating myself to Russian speakers in a long game, a long con. I'll have to text him.
Siska would be titty, sasiska would be sausage. So
it was sasiska, you're
not
right.
That far off, they're very similar.
It was. I mean, I've tried to remember this since 1988. Pushusi moju sasiska. Sasiska, yes, that was it.
Oh, yes, that's the right one, yes.
Pushusi moju
sasiska.
Sasiska, yeah, pushusi moju sasiska. That means sausage, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, he taught me that. Him and his brother used to say that to each other when they were mad at each other. And then he taught me how to say it.
Oh, man.
Pushusi moju sasiska. That's the one phrase I know in Russian. So I basically know Russian.
Well,
anyway, that's a pretty incredible life story that you're moving around that much.
Yeah, but not as much. Like, the only times like I've moved were like those 3 times.
Yeah.
Well, 2 times, and this one to America, 3rd time.
How old were you when that happened? How old were you when you got to the U.S.?
I was 11.
11. And how old are you now?
I am 23.
Oh, wow.
Old.
So you've now spent more time in the U.S. than you did not in the U.S.
Yeah, but fortunately, I did not forget Russian. I mean, I'm slowly kind of forgetting, but planning not to forget because it's kind of like my roots.
Yeah, you can't. And it's beautiful. I wish I knew another language. It's one of the most ignorant things about me is that I never learned another language.
Well, you can always learn Spanish. I think it's very easier to learn because it's so accessible, and there's a lot of Spanish speakers around. Yeah,
especially living in Queens where I do, it would be useful, but also respectful. You know, I have so many neighbors that speak primarily Spanish. I think maybe you're right. Maybe I should commit to that. Maybe I should try to learn some Spanish.
Yeah, but it's a lot of commitment. If you don't have a life, you can definitely conquer that. But if you have family, which I know you do, so it's even having just a wife and no kids is still a big commitment, and a lot of things to do, and your career and everything. So it's not on everybody's top list. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, top list? You said top list?
Yeah, top list.
Oh, top list. It's not on the top of everybody's list. I thought you were saying. I thought you just slipped in at the end that everybody's top list.
Mine is a gutter, Gethard.
Sorry. Anyway, so when you moved here, you had been living with your grandparents. So did you move here with them, with your parents? Did everybody come?
I moved here with my parents, and then I guess we petitioned for our my sister who was married. She couldn't come with us because she was married, so a separate family. But we were supposed to come here in 2001, but due to 9/11, we were held back because there was a lot of commotion and everything. So we waited a couple more years, so the last we're still waiting for our my aunt to get here as well because she's actually in Ukraine and there's a lot of things going on there. And it's, not the best situation to be in.
No, not at all. When you say you petitioned for your sister, was this is that something that you have to do, or is this is your family here for political reasons?
Well, we moved here due to religious persecution because I'm Baptist.
Oh, wow.
So, and the religion of Russia, the standard, for example, so for Dubai, it's Islam, right? So for Russia, it's Russian Orthodox. So anything that's not that is generally looked as blasphemy. So there was, and it's only like recently that it started to not be such a big, thing that like people actually get persecuted for. But so we moved for that, and the way it works is you only, like, if you are blood related, you can petition for like your family member to like get invited here so they can come here like legally. It's like, I'm
It's
not
like
that
special
deep about it
forces?
now. Special forces is like, it's basically like Marines for Russians. You know what I mean?
Wow. So then your family drags you out. You come back
Something
to the
like that.
States. Did you ever think about joining the military when you got back to the States?
I think, like, I didn't research it enough, but I think there's like a conflict because like I already served for a different
That makes sense.
country. So.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
But I don't think like it's that big of a deal. But yeah, like I may be able to join, but I mean, yeah, it would be kind of something that I'm looking into because like, I don't know, I like my country and my country is America.
Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing here now that you're out of the Russian army? What's your life like in the US?
Well, I am working as a handyman, but I had a very interesting, I guess, employment prior to this. So I was an escort for about 2-3 years.
Wait, hold on. So your life story. Born in Russia, moved to the Ukraine, fled to America due to religious persecution, returned to Russia, unwillingly brought into the Russian army, actually liked it, wanted to serve in the most probably currently dangerous region of the entire world, outside of arguably North Korea. We're not allowed to. Brought back home, became an escort.
Yes.
Okay, you are
pretty much.
You are the reason this show was created. You're the reason. You're the individual. I didn't know this before right now, but you're the reason. You're the human being that forced this show into existence.
Well, I am glad to be, useful for something.
So how does one become an escort?
So
let's go ahead. Let's pause there. Things are starting to get really real, aren't they? Well, they're only going to get more real. And be right back after this with more phone call. Crashing is on HBO. I really am begging you guys, go check it out. Okay? Sometimes the best stories come from the deepest struggles. That's why the world of up-and-coming comics is a narrative gold mine. HBO series Crashing is nailing it. It stars Pete Holmes, old friend of mine, hilarious guy who I knew when all this stuff was happening to him. I was watching this dude fall apart while he tried to make it in the New York comedy scene. I was teaching him in improv classes. The guy was like a sweaty, manic mess. Everything you're seeing on this show, I witnessed it. I was there. And it's produced by Judd Apatow, who I'll tell you is a great man who looks out for young comics. He looked out for me. He looks out for Pete. That stamp of approval should go a long way with my fans. And I really personally am asking you, watch this show. You're going to start laughing. When I put on season 1, I was saying to myself, man, it's going to be weird for me to watch a thing about stand-up comedy when I was there with Pete. No, it's so funny. You forget. I mean, it's so funny. It's such a funny show. Season 1, Pete was broke, getting divorced, trying to navigate the world of stand-up. Season 2, he's still all of those things. He's also exploring the alternative comedy scene, which I'm fascinated by because that's where he and I came up. Can't wait to see it. Season 2 of Crashing premieres January 14th at 10:30 p.m. All of Season 1 is available to stream on HBO. These are friends of mine. It's a good show. It's a no-brainer. I want the beautiful anonymous community to rally around Crashing on HBO. Get into it. Brooklinen.com. I love these sheets. You're going to love them too. They're good sheets. You spend a third of your life in your sheets. Make it count, all right? Switch out of the stuff, the bed in a bag set stuff, all that stuff you got when you're a college kid. Get better sleep with better sheets. Brooklinen.com. High quality stuff, okay? Without all those luxury prices and the terrifying big box store shopping experience where you feel like you're being held hostage and they won't even show you where the exits are. Most high-end quality bedding's marked up by more than 300% by the time it reaches the store. Brooklinen's not going to do that to you. Founded in 2014 by a husband and wife team, they have a simple philosophy. People deserve beautiful home essentials without luxury prices. They cut out unnecessary markups, retail licensing fees, manufacturing waste, all sorts of stuff. Good-hearted company. People love these products. I got some of their sheets myself, sleep on them, and I do genuinely love them. It's really good stuff, too. You go on there, all sorts of colors, patterns, really easy to mix and match. I love my Brooklinen sheets. Try these sheets. I know you'll love them, too. Brooklinen.com has an exclusive offer just for my listeners. You get $20 off and free shipping when you use the promo code BEAUTIFUL at brooklinen.com. In fact, Brooklinen is so confident you'll love your new sheets, they offer a risk-free 60-night satisfaction guarantee and a lifetime warranty on all of their sheets and comforters. There's no reason not to give these sheets a try. The only way to get $20 off and free shipping, use the promo code BEAUTIFUL at brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com. Promo code BEAUTIFUL. Brooklinen, these are the best sheets ever. Thanks again to all of our advertisers for supporting the show. Now let's get back to the phone call. So how does one become an escort?
Well, somebody has to have, generally to be an escort, you have to have looser moral compass than most other people. And I didn't have that, which is why I only lasted basically 3 years. And I guess the decision that basically made me not continue the job was my moral compass. I could not handle that much because to do that job is great money, absolutely, but it's not great on your, I don't know how to explain it because it's, to say, a short version, it's your morals, if you have higher moral standards, which is sounds so conceited, but if you have those, you just can't put up with that much. So, which is just basically, it's just like sex work. So it's not that big of a deal. You just use your body, right? But it's I don't know, it's taxing, and in order to get that money, you have to sacrifice something, and I didn't. I never could sacrifice my morals.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I got out of it. Mainly because I was offered a really big chunk of money to sleep with a certain senator for 6 months. And the thing that I didn't want to happen was my agent, who's a piece of shit Serbian bastard, he was going to get a whole bunch of money for it. And I didn't want him to use other people like that. So, yeah. So I don't hate Serbia, I just hate that little shit.
So wait, you had a Serbian pimp?
Yeah.
I don't mean to offend. I know I shorted. You said agent, but you
can't offend me.
The shorthand. Yeah, I apologize for the
a glorified pimp.
A glorified pimp. So this is. I mean, if you're dealing. So this was a United States senator.
Yeah.
On a Congress level, not a state senator. A Congress level senator who was trying to establish a 6-month contract to have a fling.
Yes, and I did sign an NDA. So I don't know.
Yes,
who's listening to this, but yeah. So somebody that people know, and he's into some weird shit because it was all in the contract what was expected of me, and I honestly. To do those things wasn't such a big problem for me. 6 months is 6 months, but
so there were
it was just.
So you're saying there were some kinks? There were some kinks involved?
Yeah. Oh, a lot. You would. Yes, absolutely. A lot of kinks, but nothing too abominable. So
there is a senator that you have said is one of the senators we probably know. So a high name recognition senator who is establishing secret relationships for money that involve specific kinks.
Yes. I mean, I think that's a very normal because it was presented as something so normal that I'm not the first one or the last one that these contracts were offered to.
Wow.
So people are just nasty. That's basically it.
Well, okay,
and,
this
you know,
is so fascinating. I have a couple questions, if I may. And I'm not trying to make assumptions about any of this, but if I may. One, if this is getting to a level where you're being contracted out for 6 months at a time, let alone to a sitting United States senator, we're talking big money. This is not meet me in a hotel room for a handful of cash. We're talking you were involved in some high level, secretive. This is why you use the word agent and not pimp, because this is money we don't even understand, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask about?
It is a lot of money.
So,
go ahead.
And were you mostly okay? Wow, I'm so mad it took us so long to get to this. This is fascinating. Are you mostly contracted for long-term stuff like this? Is this the nature of your agent's work, or are there sometimes just like one-nighters?
Most of it is all-nighters, but
All-nighters.
I fit a specific niche that a lot of people have. Like, even before doing escorting, I always attracted certain men that were, I don't know, they had like a specific type, and I fit that type. And it's, how should I say this? So, most dudes who hit me up on, you know, like some social hookup, whatever site, had this specific role play that they wanted to do where, like, they're the daddy and I'm the son. So, and
Okay.
I fit that, you know, stereotype.
So you're
I
very
suppose,
young looking.
like the little brother. Yes.
So you're 23 and
even though
maybe
I'm
look a
23,
little
I
younger?
look like a 14.
You look like you're 14.
Oh, way younger than that. Yeah. So it's, yeah. So like that was a specific niche, and like I knew it was going to be in the contract, and yes, it was. So I was like, and that's not a problem, but the problem was my pimp was going to get a large chunk of money, like only, and it was going to be like he was going to use somebody else, just as he used me, and he was a piece of shit, and I did not want him to get a single dime from that. And he was mad. He was really pissed that he could like not pursue me, really, because what he did was illegal. What I was doing was illegal.
And are we talking about the Serbian or the
official
senator
position-
that was mad?
The Serbian, but the senator, like, I signed an NDA before I opened the contract, so I could not disclose anything like specific names or like states or anything like that. So it was, I don't know. So long story short is don't do it.
Okay.
Just don't do it. Like, the money's not worth it.
So the money's
not
very
worth it.
good, but
Whoever's
it'll burn
listening,
you
don't
out.
do it.
You get involved in some dark
Yes.
shit is what we're saying.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Like, even if you're offered like a large chunk of money for, you know, sleeping with somebody that you actually, you know, like or isn't repulsive to you, it's not worth it because, and people glorify being like a sugar baby, like in sugar daddy, whatever relationships, but it's really not worth it.
Yeah.
It will be taxing on like everything that you are. And like a lot of people like just go ahead and like kill themselves over
Wow.
like things like this. And it's not really spoken about because it's just hush hush.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's other people, I'm sure there's people listening who are built for it. I'm sure there's people who, due to their circumstances or their mentality, are great. But I would have to imagine you're right, that when you're getting involved in something like this, you're at the very least giving a piece of yourself away in some fashion, and that's not easy psychologically, I would have to imagine.
It really isn't. Like, psychologically, yes, but there's like morals. It all comes down to morals because psychologically you can, you know, de-stress somehow. But morally, there's like no outlet for you really, because you can't just have like a family and just like at night go and like, you know, sell yourself basically.
Right.
Which is like, you don't do as much work but it all like comes crashing down eventually. There's just one point in life where you will be like, I can't live with myself if I continue this.
Yes. And I would have to imagine that point comes when you find out that a sitting United States senator is interested in having a 6-month-long sexual relationship with someone who he can fantasize is an underage child, which is what we basically...
Yes.
established.
basically.
Wow.
Yeah, and you see them on the news and you're like giggling because you're like, oh, he's so sick. But
That
it's
is...
just, I don't know.
Now, okay. I'm not going to harp on it too much. I do have just one question. And again, the NDA, whatever, you've named some specific things. Are you allowed to say if it was a Republican or Democrat? Is this something we're allowed to know? What are we allowed to know?
You can't know the party, but like anything that would, because there's like so many of them, like people can dig up something on somebody and they will be able to find out who's like, potential. And it's, no, I can't say that. But
you can't say that. Okay.
People see them on the news like a lot. So.
Oh. You're not allowed to say anything, and I'll ask you to not respond in any way. Bite your tongue no matter what. I'm just saying on my end, just my political beliefs. I'm praying for McConnell. I'm praying for McConnell. You don't say a thing. Don't you react in any way. I'm not trying to get you in trouble with an NDA. Just on my end, I'm praying for McConnell. And if that's too much and you now feel uncomfortable, let us know, and we'll have Jared bleep that part or remove it entirely. It's fine. It's fine.
No, it's fine. I can't answer it, but yeah, so.
Amazing. Wow, you've lived some life, huh? You have lived some life.
Oh, yes, I had to grow up real fast.
I know it's a little earlier in the show than usually here. We're breaking the format a little bit. But here's the thing. This call is about to get very heavy. I warned you at the top. I'm underlining it again. So rather than break up the momentum of that in a way that might be even more jarring, we're going to go ahead and say thanks to our advertisers. We're going to get the advertisers up and running now, and then we'll present the rest of the call uninterrupted. Use the promo codes if you like them. It really helps the show. Thanks so much. We'll be back with more phone calls soon. Today's show is sponsored by Talkspace, the online therapy company that lets you message a licensed therapist from anywhere at any time. Everybody listening knows I love therapy, big champion of therapy, and I'm very happy to tell you about a new way you might be able to check out therapy. Maybe you're feeling those barriers of entry. Talkspace might be for you, right? Maybe you can't imagine fitting anything else into your life. Well, with Talkspace, therapy's as easy as sending your therapist a message. You get something off your chest whenever you need to. Talk about everyday challenges at work, at home, or just chat about life. There's no judgments here. There's also no extra commutes here, no leaving the office. All you need is a computer with an internet connection or the Talkspace mobile app. You can start improving your mental health. Remember, therapy is not just about venting your innermost thoughts or digging into your childhood. It's about practical, everyday strategies for stress management and living a happier life. Having a therapist simply provides you a designated person for you to talk to who's trained to listen and help you make positive changes. And the Talkspace platform has over 2,000 licensed therapists who are experienced in addressing life challenges we all face. To match with a perfect therapist for a fraction of the price of traditional therapy, go to Talkspace.com/beautiful. Use the code BEAUTIFUL. You get $30 off your first month and show your support for this show. That's beautiful at Talkspace.com/beautiful. Thanks again to our sponsors. Now let's finish off this phone call. Buckle up. Amazing. Wow, you've lived some life, huh? You have lived some life.
Oh, yes, I had to grow up real fast. But, that's not even, like, the most fucked up thing about my life.
Well, like, get talking, my friend.
It's so funny how, like... Huh?
Get talking, my friend.
Well,
You were saying, no, it's so funny how...
It is so funny how... my visit to Russia was supposed to be like a two-parter. The first part was I was going to like get a passport, right? And move back to America and live my life, but that wasn't the case. But the other part was, so here's the heavy things that usually aren't, that nice. So when I was like 8-9 years, I used to go to this music school, and I usually on the way back, I would go through either the railroad or the cemetery, and the road through the railroad is usually filled with like, stupid dogs that would like bite you and like you would die of like some kind of disease or something. Like as a child, you would be like thinking like those horrible things because you have like such a great imagination. So one of these days I was like, I didn't want to go through the railroad because my best friend was like not with me because we used to go to the same music school. But he didn't go to classes that day, and I went through the cemetery. And I I walked out of the cemetery, and there's this swamp area that connects to, like my city block. And on that exit, there was these 4 dudes that were, smoking at that time. And so they saw me with like my stupid, shitty violin. And so I like walked past them. Then so I was grabbed by one of them just after passing them. Long story short, I was raped by 4 men. I guess I survived somehow, I don't know, through God's grace, but got home, changed, took a bath, I guess lived my life past that, repressed it. Now, nobody knew, my parents didn't know, but they like, my mom was like, are you okay? What's going on? You came back late. It was like past like 9, basically. I was like, oh, I just got, held up at the music school. And so my visit to Russia, going back to 16, I was actually going to kill them all. I was going to kill 4 of those douchebags. And I knew everything about them because I researched like all their names, everything like that. But there's no disclosure of like imprisonment publicly. So I came to Russia. I had found out that they all were imprisoned. And then I got, enlisted into the army. After a year, I basically was like, okay, I'm back to business. I'm going to go and kill them all. And I dig some stuff up, and it seems that they were killed in a prison riot, all 4 of them. So I guess it's like, I'm glad it didn't happen because I knew that I was going to get caught eventually. Even though I was going to move to America, I was still going to get caught eventually. Like, it's just how it is. Like, nothing bad that I do in life ever, like, stays hidden, which is why I have, I guess, been very honest with everything in life, which is, I guess, a good thing to have, even if it's like forced. I don't know why it's forced, but I guess I'm just unlucky. But so, yeah, that's some heavy shit right there.
You can say that again. That's some of the heaviest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, that's completely brutal. I'm sorry that happened to you. I can't even imagine. I know that I'm sorry doesn't even really begin, but that's obviously something that should happen to no one. And I'm so sorry. And so you were actually out for vigilante justice when the military conscripted you.
Absolutely.
So is there a part of you that's
I was timing my days.
Wow. Is there a part of you that you get in the military, you're
ready.
like, all right, weapons training, this is meant to be. I'm now going to go get trained on how to kill.
Oh, yes.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. It was, I don't know, it was also a time in the military where I was, I guess, put into place in terms of structure. I had structure, and it was good because I guess it kind of lessened my thirst for blood. But at the same time, when I was out, I was like, oh, it's on. So it was everything that happens to me and will ever happen. It's all for a reason. And I know that it's for something great, basically. I know I can't see it now, but eventually it's going to be, something good, basically.
Wow. So you'd been thinking about killing these people your whole life?
Yeah.
Wow. And when you found out that they were already dead, were you relieved, or did you almost feel cheated in some way? Like, what's the reaction to that after you've been planning this for so long?
I felt very cheated because I wasted so much time in preparing for just to see the reaction on their face when I squeeze the life out of them. And I'm not a violent person in general, but just people can wrong me as much as they want. It doesn't really bother me. But when it comes to my family, that's when I go off the rails. But that specific one thing, I wanted revenge. I wanted it so bad. I felt very cheated, and at the same time, I felt relieved because I was like, oh, well, things happen for a reason, and I can just move on and live my life, or try to. And I guess if anybody believes in God, I guess it was a clear sign that your life is worth living, because it was basically a suicide mission for me, because I was like, I don't expect to come out of this unscathed or get away with it, because I didn't have a specific plan of what do I do after they're dead. I never had a plan for that. It was more I want them dead.
Wow, this is a lot. This is a lot.
Yeah. And nobody else knows. The only reason is because it's anonymous.
Yeah.
It's so cliche.
No, I mean that's the hook, right? That's the hook, baby. That's the hook.
Yeah, that's the hook.
I have to say, there's so much that's happened in your life, and I am. I will say this all feels so emotional and so real to me. I'm there. There's so much you've brought up that I'm sure there's going to be some listeners who wonder if you're exaggerating any of this.
Oh, I wish. If anybody has seen a hell, it would be me. Wow. Because to deal with being absolutely sodomized at age 9, to deal with that, I was I started cutting myself, and that also put up with being gay, being Christian, and not wanting to disappoint anybody. And since being raised in a very Christian family, pastor's kid, you have a specific set of morals, guilt, conscience, everything ties in, and then you just realize that you're gay, and then you finally accept yourself, but then it also is contradicting with everything else. So it's not just one point that you have to get over. It's everything. And then you start cutting yourself, and then you end up liking it because it gives you adrenaline, but also I guess relief, which is an illusion because it all comes back flushing, and it was hell. Let's just say that. I tried killing myself once. Unfortunately, it didn't succeed. Fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know. But that was the time when my mom was oh, what's going on? Because, I failed. So I was hospitalized. So I was how do I get out of this? Because I didn't want my parents to find out about the rape or anything else. Because even though I know my parents won't really judge me, but they will be feel guilty because they weren't there to protect me, basically.
So they still don't know.
That's what all parents go through. They still don't know.
You say that
And
you haven't talked to many people. I do feel obligated to ask. Have you talked to doctors? Have you talked to professionals about this?
I talked to, like, I went through, like, physical exams, but I didn't, like, specify, like, why I want, like, a full physical. But, like, I'm all right physically. There's nothing, like, damaged. But mentally, I think I have figured everything out. So I don't think I have any need for, like, a therapist. Although, like, that was in my mind, like, in my teenage years, I was like, I need a therapist. I need a therapist. I need to talk to somebody. But then eventually I guess I was venting online. That kind of helped. And, like, because it was, like, limited. So I didn't really feel that much need in, like, a therapist later. So,
yeah.
like,
Obviously, if you know my work,
right.
you know. Obviously, if you know my work, you know that I'm a very, very, very big public advocate for taking care of your mental health. So I do feel just very strongly sort of honor bound to say that it's not a bad idea. And if you wanted to try it, I would imagine that you might help. But I'm certainly gonna sit here and insist or tell you how to live your life. But just hearing this, you know, this conversation's taken so many turns, and we were also laughing before about your experiments with sex work. And I do not judge sex work. I think I'm of the opinion it should be legal in many cases. But I will say that hearing about your background and then also hearing about your experience with that, it does seem to me like there's a number of things there that I think I feel like you know, maybe it's not a bad idea to talk to somebody.
Absolutely, but I think, like, I'm just keeping busy lately, so I don't really, like, feel the need to, like, get a therapist. But eventually, maybe. But
it's up to you. I would feel like I wasn't doing my job as a guy if I didn't just put that on record, you know?
Yeah.
As a chill dude, as you called me.
A lot
of chill
people
dude.
do need that.
I need it.
You are a chill dude, yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is you've really and you said you're a handyman now.
I'm a handyman, yeah. So, like, I fix things.
That sounds like a
everything except my life.
That sounds like a nice, a very sedate, calm, simple life where problems present themselves and then you solve the problems and feel a sense of accomplishment. I would have to imagine that's a nice change of pace for you.
Yes, it is. It's way less money, yes, but it's, you know, there's no, like, pressure from, like, morals and, like, what you know is right and wrong. That's, like, always, like, whispering into your ear that, like, you're doing something wrong, absolutely wrong. You hate this. Why do you do this? You know? So there's nothing like that. But, you know, money isn't everything. That's just, like, something I've learned.
And it was real. So those 3 years there, are we talking like 6 figures a year? Like, this money was real, huh?
Oh, real. Let's just say the amount of money I was going to get from that contract would literally propel me to be very successful. I was going to start a business. I was going to buy a house, and support my family, like, 100%. Wow. Like, get anything that I needed and like, much more. And I was going to actually, like, get rich off of that money. So it was like which is why I knew I could never do that, because deep down I knew that was not something that, like, nobody's really worth that much, basically. Like, it was just like that, you know, understanding that, like, this money comes with strings. Like, I understand, like, even though it was, like, nowhere in the contract that, like, you had to, you know, do something else or, like, a renewal or anything like that. It was just like, I knew there was going to be strings. Like, nobody would pay somebody that much to just, like, fuck them for, like, 6 months.
Wow. I gotta say, really, all jokes aside, what senator is it? What's it like being in that world? All that aside, I am very glad
Yeah.
you didn't do that. Because I tell you, the fact that you're able to tell me about that rape situation, the fact that you wanted to murder people, the fact that we're able to talk about all that in a way that seems even remotely grounded shows strength and your ability to really hold it together through some stuff that a lot of people would not be able to. And I would have to imagine you can only have so many of those in life before you get past your tipping point. And it seems like winding up in a fetish scenario with a high-powered person might not end well.
Well, I think my tipping point, and I know it for a fact, is if my parents pass away. I do not know how I will actually like live without my parents. Like, even though like I don't have such like an amazing connection with them, I think it's all like as a defensive mechanism because I don't want them to get that close to knowing certain things. So I just don't know how, if they ever pass away, I hope not, that how I will actually like live without them, because I can like live without like my abortion of a brother and like my sister and whatever, but like anything else, like my parents, no.
Can I ask, are your parents aware of your sexuality?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, It was a rough time for a bit, but it all is like resolved, I guess, because I think honestly being like different sexual orientation, I think it is a really good test for the people that love you, or they say that they love you, because how unconditional is their love? And that's what I've like come to understand. Like, it's a good test of whether they do actually love you unconditionally or whether it's just like clout.
Yeah. And I would have to imagine too, everything I've ever heard about Russia is that it is not as accepting. So your parents being from a background, both religious and, you know, like I don't know all the facts and figures, but I certainly know about, you know, people like Pussy Riot have shined a light on the treatment of the homosexual community in Russia. And I would have to imagine too that must have been a very hard conversation and a gratifying moment when your parents did show that love.
Yeah, like my dad didn't talk to me for like a week. I think he was like gathering his thoughts. But and then like I knew that my dad was like always really smart, even though he was like totally against like gays and everything, and he like found them abominable. But he changed his, I guess, view on it, because it's different when like it's your own blood. So like it's like, for example, like divorce is bad, this and that, but then like when your child gets divorced, it's like you're more lenient to that because you're not on such a like a higher ground. You know what I mean? Like, because people of religion are generally like on a higher moral ground because it's like you have this like understanding, like you know everything. But when like it happens, you're like, oh, I'm not the shit anymore. So yeah, he came to his, I guess, senses. But I was like ready to like, you know, get out of the city, the state, because like I was not going to be a nuisance, basically.
So you're not living in the same city anymore?
Well, I do live in the same city.
Okay. This is a
yeah, but
I've never heard a life story like this one. Never heard it.
Yeah. I literally stalked your podcast, and I never like heard anybody like, you know, like even Russian, I think. So I was like, I don't know, I wanted to share my story because, yeah.
I hate to laugh, but with everything you've said, everything you've shared today, I love knowing that your initial impulse to call was like, oh, they need the Russian perspective on things. I like that was the starting point.
Yeah, I guess.
I like that was the impetus, like the initial seed. And then it's like, oh, maybe also I can talk about my experience as a high-level escort, and then also the the fact that I had a stretch of my life where I was effectively living in a murder revenge plot akin to a late era Liam Neeson movie. Maybe I'll throw that in as well.
Teenagers are horrible. Don't let them like harbor revenge thoughts about you, because they will actually kill you. Teenagers are horrible.
They
Absolutely.
can be. It can be.
I
it's
did not like
heartbreaking.
being a teenager.
Oh, it was rough.
Huh?
It was rough. I was an angry teen as well. I was an angry teen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had some.
You hate yourself. You hate everybody. There's changes in your body. Do you like them? Do you not like them? What is going on? And you're bad at math, and you're like, what is going on? Why am I so horrible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, bad at math in particular.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that...
How many minutes do you have left?
We have a little under 8 minutes left.
Ooh. I probably can't talk about my failed engagement.
Well, I actually was just gonna say, I was just gonna say in our last handful of minutes, I was wondering, what is day-to-day life now? Outside of all this fantastical stuff and all this very life-defining, dramatic stuff. So I was gonna say maybe the dating life, but how recent is this failed engagement?
The recent, about 3 months ago, actually.
I'm sorry.
I proposed to this dude and basically got rejected. But the cool thing about it is I returned the ring, and I saved $12,000 for this amazing ring. And then I am using that money to go to Bora Bora. So fuck that dude and fuck him. Fuck everything about him. I wasted 3 years of my life on that asshole. Just no.
Were you dating him during any of the stretch when you were also escorting?
No.
That's good.
When it also helped that I was dating him, it was getting more serious. We were moving in. That I actually it was right as I was ending all ties with my pimp, basically, and
so you must have started that. If I'm doing the math, if you were with this guy, if you're only 23, you were with this guy for 3 years, and there's no crossover. This must have meant you were escort. Were you underage when you were escorting?
Yes,
you were. So you're 16, 17?
Yeah, 17ish. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. My life has been interesting, to say the least. I'm just hoping that it helps somebody make proper decisions for themselves, because I know there's a lot of similar situations that people go through, but they don't talk about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That is true. I mean, I know from my experience talking about some of my stuff, it even if it opens some wounds, it's nice to help the next person over. So hopefully if there's anybody in situations similar to yours, they're maybe hearing that you have turned out a little more okay on the other side relatively, and hopefully that gets some other people to maybe seek their way out of some situations.
Yeah. But the thing is that I really I'm kind of disappointed about is that I didn't really have a childhood. So it was I hated that I had to grow up so fast, and at the same time it has a lot of positives because you see a lot of what, you can predict how life will go and how you react to certain situations, but you're not innocent anymore. There's no ignorance that you can say that, oh, I'm ignorant, I'm a child, this and that. But it's you had to grow up, and you were never a child, so you had to grow up really quickly. And it sucks because, I always wished I would be oh, I'm just a small boy, right? I can blame everything on being a kid, but can't do that. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
But if anybody out there is dealing with any of this, just, step by step.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. Yeah. It will all get better.
And on that note, so where are you at now? You're working. You like your gig. You friend situation. The engagement sucks. Are you dating anybody else? Are you bouncing back? Where are we at?
I'm actually starting to date somebody. Again, I never liked being like outside relationships. Like I'm one of those rare gays that doesn't like have sex outside a relationship. It's weird. I'm one of those monogamous animals, as they say. So
Who said? Is that a phrase? Monogamous animals?
Yeah. Like in the gay community, it's like the new trend is like open relationships and everything like that, which is like you do you, boo boo, but it doesn't work for me. Like it doesn't.
Wow. So that's nice. That's nice. You got somebody in your life who loves you. That's nice.
Yeah, he's pretty great. He doesn't know any of this, nor do I think he will ever know, unless he's like dying on like a deathbed. Then I will like tell him, but no.
Wow. And when
nobody should, have to, like even think about like dealing with something like this. Like, so like, how do you react when like somebody's like that damaged?
Yeah. I mean, again, I will say, not to force it, rather than hide in fear of people finding out about the damage, there's, and again, if it's not for you, it's not for you. For anybody else listening, there are a lot of resources and a lot of people who exist and make their mission in life to help you sort out that damage so you don't have to just constantly hide from it. So I will put that out there.
Yeah. I mean, I've come to terms like with everything that happened to me. I know everything happened for a reason to be where I am today. It's not like something that's an insecurity of mine, but I know that not everybody is ready to receive this kind of information. And it's just not, it's not good for them to know this because, like, what are they gonna do with it, basically? Like, it's not going to help them in any way. Like, it's not going to help me because, like, I'm already helped. Like, I have no comments about it. This is why I'm so freely talking about it. That's the great part, like, still getting over that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, like, you say you're over it, but then you also keep dropping phrases that sound like it's, saying that you're going to hide it until, I don't know. It's not my place to analyze.
Observant, aren't you, Gethard?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm also not
there's
an
always
analyst.
Like loose ends.
Of course.
Loose ends, yes, absolutely. I'm not that ignorant. Yes, I know there's like, a lot of things to do. I understand. I probably should do therapy because, Lord knows I need it. But that's something that I'm probably going to explore later on. But, yeah.
We got 30 seconds left. I want to just say I'm blown away at your ability to fill me in on this and talk. And I thank you for sharing the story. And I, like you said, if there's other people out there in similar situations, I hope hearing you has maybe inspired them to help. I also just have to say I never thought I'd have to say the sentence. I don't advocate murder. I hope nobody out there goes out and murders. I do say that, not to judge, but I hope nobody's murdering.
Yeah, absolutely. But I hope you keep doing you, Gethard.
And you as well.
What you're doing is amazing.
You as well. Thank you for surviving. Yeah. Thank you for surviving, honestly. Caller, I was rambling a lot, but I so sincerely mean it. So much love to you. I'm so sorry. Again, just want to reiterate, I know, it's my thing, it's my cause, it's the soapbox I get on, but help is out there, and if the help is out there, why not try? I'll stop. It's not up to me. It's up to you. Thank you for calling. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thanks to Jared O'Connell for, I've always said, how navigates this ship, and more than ever in this one, these are the ones I tell you, in between when we record at the intro and outro of this one, we had a real long talk, Jared and I. Thank you to Harry Nelson in the booth as well, who's helping out. Thanks to Shellshag for the music. You guys are the best. Thanks, John Delore. Thanks, Greta Cohn, for building the show. ChrisGeth.com for info on my road dates, tickets, all that stuff. Rate, review, subscribe. If you like the show, go to Apple Podcasts. It really does help so much when you do so. And that's that. Thank you guys so much. Today's show is sponsored by Talkspace, the online therapy company that enables you to improve your mental health from anywhere at any time. Get matched with a licensed therapist from over 2,000 choices and message them whenever you need to. No commutes and no judgments. For a special offer for our listeners, visit Talkspace.com/beautiful and use the code BEAUTIFUL to get $30 off your first month and show your support for this show. Talkspace, it's therapy for how we live today. Sometimes the best stories come from the deepest struggles, which is why the world of up-and-coming comics is a narrative goldmine. See for yourself in the HBO comedy series Crashing, starring my friend, my former student, Pete Holmes. A great man, hilarious guy. If you guys like me, if you like sort of comedy that's thoughtful, Pete he's right up your alley. You're going to love him. It's also executive produced by Judd Apatow, an old mentor of mine, someone who I will always support and who I hope you will support as well. Crashing shows a realistic and honest depiction of starting out a comedy career in New York City. I was there for all this stuff, okay? I was in the real-life version of all these stories that Pete's doing. He's nailing it. It's a funny show, and it's an honest show. Season 2 premieres January 14th at 10:30 p.m. All of Season 1 is available to stream on HBO. Get into it. Next time on Beautiful Anonymous, everybody's just trying to smooch some face. Thinking about hooking up with some Benny who's down here for 2 weeks?
Probably not. Because I am boy crazy. In a sense where I see a guy and I'll be like, oh my god, he's so cute. I would kiss his face. I would do everything.
Shit, I would kiss his face. You are a teenager you just proclaimed that puberty is fully kicking in for you currently. Little late bloomer. And your instinct, you'll see a boy walk down the street, you want to run up and just smooch all over his face.
I guess so.
That's next time on Beautiful Anonymous.
Hey there, folks. Do you like comedians from SNL, UCB, The Onion, and The Tonight Show? Are you curious about how germs control your brain or how human history is a big series of pranks? Well, hear that and more on the Cracked Podcast. That's right, Cracked.com is also a podcast hosted by me, Alex Schmidt, with guests who are comedians, novelists, scientists, live UCB audiences, and more. Every week we explore why life is fundamentally more interesting than you think it is, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. Search the Cracked Podcast on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to get free, awesome fun stuff that you'll like.
This has been an Earwolf production, executive produced by Scott Aukerman, Chris Bannon, and Colin Anderson. For more information and content, visit earwolf.com.